We are on. Get the net ready. Kill the motor. First fish. First fish. Sure how bad this wind is going to be. Run down here. Just had to change GoPro batteries mid-fight. Gotta love that. Pretty sure this is a big one. Got it. He's gonna run. He's gonna jump. He's gonna jump. Here comes the what? So good. Oh, there he goes. Wow. Here comes. Oh. Come on. Come on, buddy. Such strong fish. I don't want to go down there, mate. I want you to come. I want you to come here, you little bastard. It's got all sorts of... Wow. Almost forgot how good these things fight. Dangerous, very dangerous. Come. Alright. You're gonna be a prick. Oh, there he is. There he is. Get away from all that shiny trim tabs and props. There it is. Wow. I need to get back to... Hey! Meter plus. Ah, yeah. Can't fit in my net. Just didn't want to bury the lure in there. Whew! Ah, the first fish on the new deck is gotta be a 110 plus. Ah, what a weapon. Oh my god. Oh my. Look at that. What a beast. First fish on the new deck. That is a fat fish. Look how thick that thing is. That is so fat. Get a quick size on her and then let her go. Wow, it's a powerful fish. That's ridiculous. It's looking around. Look at that. That is an absolute slob. That's about 103-ish. Thought it was way bigger. It's just such a beast. Such an epic fish. Look at that. Last look. Let her go. That's incredible. Such a beast of an animal. Look at it. Oh my god. What an animal. The thickness down that way. Alright, here it is, swim. G'day guys, and welcome to another episode of Barramundi Basics. It has been I guess a little while since my last basics update video. As you can see from that fish, the weather today is not the best. The sun is finally out now that I've come around the corner, but the main basin is ridiculous. Waves are massive. So right now the lake, I guess, is in transition. It's going from a warm weather bite to cold weather, and the dam hasn't rolled yet, so to speak, which means or I guess leveled out, you know, that there is a thermocline around that 20 feet at the moment, and the fish are looking to be underneath that rather than above that because of the water temps. So at the moment, that is making traditional fishing or typical fishing, casting at the bank, finding them on weed beds and stuff, a little bit difficult because the fish just aren't there. So I actually came out here today to do an instructional video on trolling those sorts of things, big hard bodies. But with the weather as bad as it is, I will wait. Even though I can catch them right now, it is way too rough to sort of run through everything with you guys out there. But the reason I wanted to run through a trolling video is lots of guys are still coming to the dam currently or have been here within the past couple of months and didn't catch a fish. Finding that sort of right position on the weed bed or finding those key points and stuff where the fish are moving at bite windows has been a little bit tough for people that are traveling, and I thought doing a video explaining how to troll, what to look for when trolling, could help those people if they're really struggling on a 3 or 4 day trip, and for those last couple of days or the last day even, they really wanted to catch a barramundi. I'd be able to give them the information they need to catch that fish. So I won't do that today, but I will endeavour to do that, and that is my point. That what I do want to do though is, obviously with my brand change and a few other things going on, I have a lot to show you guys about updates in my tackle, the rods I'm running, the reels I'm running, plus my hooks, my prototype Vanfook hooks that I've been using for probably maybe a year now. I've been been experimenting and testing these hooks, and they are now available in stores. So apologies if there's any wind because I can't hear this video and Yelena's not here. I'm doing this solo. I'm actually running a lapel mic at the moment because it's so windy, and my usual pistol mic would probably be getting wind right now. So anyway, on to spinning tackle. My spin reel now is the Sustain 5000. So this thing has between 11 and 13 kilos of drag, somewhere around there. And apart from that, beautifully smooth. I love the big power handle for it, as well as just how lightweight it is. The Sustain 5000 is going to be my go-to spinning reel for Barra. I'm running that on a Zodius 274 extra heavy. So this thing can cast full weight 140 Molix Shad. I typically have this set up running for Yelena, but if we do have some crosswind or I'm fishing top water or something similar to that, I will run a spin rod. I hate fishing across the wind with any tackle, and especially hate fishing across the wind with a bait caster. So worst case, I'll be stealing this spin combo from Yelena, but if I am on the top water deal, I'll be running this. So 274 extra heavy is a very, very tough rod and very sensitive. Monocoque butt, so you can feel everything. It's amazing the sensitivity that I now have, even fishing around weeds with something like a Molix Shad. It really feels like that Molix Shad is just cranking away, and I hook the tiniest bit of slime weed, I can feel that change and respond accordingly, you know, flick the rod, get it off, or wind it in if it's not doing anything, rather than just waste those casts. Wow, that is so windy. So that's the spin rod. You'll see this when I'm running top water, in Yelena's hands, or maybe in mine if I plan on doing something sneaky overnight. Bait caster setup. This is going to be my flat out go-to combo for chasing barramundi. Curado DC 200. Can cast this thing with my eyes shut. Beautiful reel. I really love the sound of the DC, so you better get used to that when I'm running a Grappler on my neck, because that is all you're going to hear. And I ran on the Expride 172 heavy. So 2-piece rod, but it splits at the butt. So I mean, it splits just above that front grip. So essentially for all you guys that don't like 2-piece rods, it's not essentially a 2-piece rod. It's still basically a 1-piece as far as blank goes and slides in the butt. This is a powerful rod and sensitive as. Again, monocoque style butt, and I can feel everything with that. And I can underhand, backhand, left hand, right hand cast this however I want, wherever I want with ease. Molix Shad 140 sends it a mile. 120, amazing, and double-handed left hand cast. I think I made my point. So far so good with fighting a fish. Plenty of power and plenty of forgiveness actually, but sensitivity was the main thing I noticed with swapping over rods. I guess particularly it's that monocoque butt that makes it so sensitive. Could be cork as well versus foam, what I've used in the past, but it's just so nice to have, I guess, so much sensitivity in the water, especially when I'm trying to fish around weed beds, you know, like it's really important to me to know exactly where that lure is, keep it just above the weed, if not in the weed, and you also need to make sure that your lure is swimming correctly, you know, like just even that front treble pinned into the side of the body, I can feel that and know that it's not swimming correctly, and you know that that cast is A, possibly not wasted, or B, with the hook pinned on the side, you do run the risk of possibly, I guess, missing that bite, either missing the headbutt bite or just getting spat out because your hook's facing the wrong way. Braid, still running 50-pound braid. I don't see the point of going any less. Braids these days are so fine. They're not high buoyancy, they're not high PE rate, like they're not thick lines, they're super thin, and 50-pound, just like a happy medium, I guess. You can go lower to 40, you run the risk of popping it off. You go higher to 60 or 70, and then it does sort of hang up in the water a little bit and affects your sink rates on your lures. Leader, still running 60-pound, running the FC 100. I have never had the need to go to 80-pound on big impoundment barra. Yes, with 60, you will need to retie if they inhale that bait, but I can't say you won't get chafed off, but I haven't been chafed off. And especially if you're running like this 172 heavy rod, it's a heavy rod, but it's not a dramatic rod, you know, it's not like a beast where you're just going to be trying to rip that thing in and then you are going to be the one that breaks that leader. So if you're fighting a fish, I guess, smoothly, not erratically, you won't get chafed off. But if you're up this thing and carrying on, trying to thumb the spool, stuff like that, I guess you do have the risk of breaking 60, but I just find 60 for me is that perfect level where it doesn't affect the action of my lure, doesn't affect the sink rate of my lure, and I get 99% of my fish in. Can't say 100% because who knows, now I'll probably jinx myself. So you would have all noticed the brown hooks, brown rings on my Molix Shads. Been running them on Molix Shads for a long time, been running them on my cod gear for a long time. I don't really love having silver hooks in freshwater, don't ask me why. It's just a thing that's in my own head, but I love having just my bait as natural looking as possible, without any, like, if it's not meant to have flash, I don't want it to have flash, you know? So these hooks, people have been asking about these for a long time. They're a DT58 from Vanfook. They are PTFE coated, which makes them rust resistant and also super, super slippery. So as you know, if you've been following me for a while, I love hooks that have the ability to penetrate easily. I want that hook in with the slightest amount of pressure, with the I guess the smallest interaction from that fish possible. I want that hook to stick. I don't want to get a cheek swipe or a headbutt bite with a heavy gauge hook where I run the risk of not getting that hook in past the barb. With these DT58s, I can't say I never miss, but I rarely ever miss a fish. I have caught fish in Mondrian well over a metre with one hook of the treble in the cheek plate of a fish, you know. So these things stick, they go in very quickly and very strong. And without going into too much detail of the hook, right? The strongest part of the hook is the bottom of that curve. Doesn't matter how strong a gauge hook you have, if you don't get the pressure of that fish or the weight of that fish into the bottom curve of that hook, that is how you straighten hooks. And if you run big barbed hooks, thick gauge hooks, when you hit barramundi in the jaw, in the cheek, anywhere sort of, I guess, hard, you run the risk of straightening that hook or not getting enough penetration to get past the barb before that fish jumps and throws you. So that is why I will always run a finer gauge hook than most people, and yet I won't straighten any hooks. As I said with the leader, it comes down to how aggressive you are fighting a fish. Doesn't matter how powerful that fish is, if he's hooked all the way down to that curve of that hook, he can take as much line as he wants, you can thumb it. I've stopped $1.20 golden trevally on the pylons off home here with a size 1 of these hooks. So it's hard to talk ratings on hooks because everyone's different. People talk about 3X, 4X, 5X, whatever. Doesn't really mean a lot because each brand has their own rating system, and it's not so much about that, it's about getting a strong hook, and especially with the fish that we want to catch, you need to make sure you're pinning them and getting it to that curve of that hook where your strength is in that hook. Get any hook, drag it along a bench and see what happens. If you grab that tip and you don't get it all the way in, it's going to straighten, doesn't matter what it is. You drag this thing along somewhere, it's going to go in and going to stab you. It's very hard even to get these hooks out of the packet without hooking yourself. Well, rather than talk about hooks all day, something else is exciting. Not this color. This is the 120 Molix Shad, as you all know. And as a lot of you will know, I was running the one and only 120 Red Claw Shad for a while. It was my prototype to test out my color. Just happened that they sent me it in a 120 and it caught me a bunch of fish. And somehow that 120 Red Claw is still surviving. I still have it. I just don't have it in the boat right now to show you. But what I wanted to say about this, in a long story short, is the 120 Red Claw is now out and available in stores. So everybody that keeps asking me about that 120, it is out now. So maybe grab yourself some either for this winter or grab yourself some for this upcoming spring. Apologies for the camera shadow on the side of me here. I am solo, as I said, in the back of a bay to get out of this wind. So the project boat is still coming along nicely, and you will see it a bit more in Barramundi videos once it's finished, because it will have live on it, and I'm very keen to play around in here, especially in the cooler months, sort of targeting individual fish when I find them. As you will see, my flooring, so all the flooring is done this time. Quick tour. Look at that. So nice. I forgot how nice new flooring feels under your feet. I've been in bare feet ever since I put the flooring in, basically, and it's super, super comfy. What else I find a little bit funny, it is, I guess, mid to late May up here. I'm still in shorts and bare feet, and it's hot and sunny. It's a little bit windy, but it's still warm and sunny, and my poor friends down south chasing cod are literally freezing. Beanies, gloves, fires, all sorts of stuff. But that will be me possibly maybe in 2 weeks. Thanks as always for tuning in. I will endeavour to get out this Barramundi Basics trolling video for all you guys that really want to catch a barramundi that are up here. Just in case all else fails and you do want to do that, that will be my next barramundi video that you see, hopefully, or it could be a topwater one, depends what's going on. But as I said, thanks again for tuning in, and I will see you all in the next one. I don't know where it will be or where I will be, but we'll be on the water catching fish.